everyone, this is Nasha Patel from the Louisiana Department of Education, Office of Early Childhood team. I'm going to be leading you all today through our data certification webinar, so thanks so much for joining us. We are using new webinar software, so I'm adjusting accordingly, so please give me a pass if anything crazy happens. So this webinar is being recorded. We will share the recording along with the slides, so you will have all of this information. We are really excited to get the data certification process started so we can start getting to releasing performance profiles for the 2017-2018 years. If you have any questions, you can use the chat function to chat us questions, and I will look at them at the end of our presentation. Great. So today we're really just focused on talking about how you can prepare for the data certification process that takes place starting in August. So we'll walk through the performance profiles, the roles and responsibilities, and then what data certification is and the system that you'll use to complete data certification. We'll go through the timeline and then I'll take your questions. So just briefly, I know that y'all have seen this slide many times, but over the past 5 years, Louisiana has worked to unify the early childhood system for pre-K to prepare all children for kindergarten. With last year, 2016-2017's performance profile release in fall 2017, we marked the first full year of actual implementation, which resulted in performance profiles published on the School and Center Finder in fall 2017. This year's process will look very similar. It'll be our second year of implementation, which is very exciting. And these will also be released through School and Center Finder in fall 2018. Performance profiles consist of two key components: the unified rating that measures core elements needed for positive child outcomes. They provide a clear and focused path for improvement, and they give families an easy way to compare choices in their community. And they are based on adult-child interactions and instructions as measured by class. And then the information on classroom best practices, curriculum, assessing children for learning, and credentialing of teachers. For the most part, data certification is focused on the second component of performance profiles, which is equally as important and also published in the same way on the School and Center Finder. So we want to make sure that the information on classroom best practices is as accurate as it can and reflects what children will receive in each center or site within your community network. So each site receives a performance rating that's based on class observations. Data certification does not impact a site's performance rating. So the process to evaluate observations, see whether you wanted to appeal them, make error corrections, all of that has already taken place. And so we are reviewing class scores now, making final determinations about scores, and then we will publish performance profiles with these ratings in the fall. What does get certified during data certification are these metrics that appear at the bottom of each site's performance profile. So that includes assessment, children per teacher, curriculum quality for pre-K and for infant toddler, and then the degrees for teachers at the site and their certifications. Again, the site that you go to see these publicly displayed is www.louisianaschools.com. So now that we've briefly talked about performance profiles and what you're certifying data for, let's go through the data certification process. So data certification involves a lot of folks working together to ensure that all of the data is certified in the Louisiana Data Review System. We do this on the front end before performance profiles are published. Once performance profiles are published, if there are corrections to be made to the data, we don't guarantee that they can be made, and we frankly can't do a very quick turnaround on any of those changes. So it's very important to work with your sites and with your community to make all changes that need to be made during the data certification process. So this starts with the work that you've been doing all year. You've been working to input data into the Teaching Strategies Gold system. We've been giving you that information back after each checkpoint, and you've been working with your sites to ensure the data is as accurate and complete as possible. When in June, we provided all of the information that was available through Gold. This actually happened in July. You received your final data certification files in your FTP, so you could begin collecting corrections. August 1st is when the system will open and data certification will officially start. You need to have a process in place so that you can work with your site to collect and confirm all of the revisions for the informational data, metrics data. You will make all those corrections and upload all necessary documentation into the LDR system. And we at the state level will respond to each record and will provide ongoing support to you to make sure that we understand the corrections you're trying to make and that the corrections are the right ones. Once data certification is over, beginning in September, we'll finalize all records in the LDR system and we'll ask you to provide any additional information or documentation as needed. Through data certification, you have to verify the following information for each classroom in the site: the ages served by the site, the number of children assessed in each classroom using Gold, the pre-K or the infant toddler curriculum used in each classroom, the highest degree earned for one lead teacher for each classroom, the Louisiana certification for one lead teacher for each classroom, which includes the ancillary certificate. You should know that October 1 counts have been used in this process, but we don't certify October 1 counts in data certification. So if you see errors or issues, or if you want to go back and check your October 1 counts, you can do that. That's in your FTP. If you want to make changes to those counts, you need to reach out to us, and we can work with you to confirm any changes to your October 1 count. So on July 18th, lead agencies received the site-level data certification files in their FTP. These are all available to you now, and you have them, beginning July 18th, you have this information available to you. By August 1st, you will receive access to the data certification system. You'll get an email with your login information. We set up lead agency contacts, and we use the contact list provided to us. If you had additional folks or if you needed to switch people out, we ask that you contact us. You can still make those changes if you need to, but please make them soon. During the month of August, lead agencies will work with sites to identify and collect any corrections. You must submit all of these corrections by August 31st, 2018. All corrections must be submitted in the LDR system. The system will close after that, and we won't be able to collect any more corrections. This form is very familiar to y'all since it's what we've been doing for the past couple of years for data certification, but it includes all the information that you'll need to verify at the site level and at the classroom level. The biggest change this year is that teacher certification will only be validated if an accurate and up-to-date certification number is provided. We don't need the letters in front of the certificate number, we just need the number itself. So please ensure that you put the certification number and make sure that it is correct. So just like last year, early childhood uses the same system that K-12 uses to collect correction requests at site level and classroom level informational metrics from lead agencies. Each lead agency will have a login ID and password to log into the system. The website is www.ladatareview.net. Through this system, lead agencies will be able to download and distribute site rosters. These are the same rosters that are provided through your FTP. Request changes to site rosters, add documentation for changes if required, submit corrections to site information for the state to review, and then monitor state response to each correction request submitted. If the state has any questions or concerns about a submission, we will respond directly to the requested correction via the system. Users will receive an email with their login information the day before the system opens. So all information needs to be accurate as of October 1st, 2017, and this is the site level. So what we're looking for is the name of the site code, the community network, whether or not this site serves infants, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s at the site level. At the classroom level, we're looking for more specific information. So the name of the classroom teacher, this is the lead teacher. One teacher should be selected as the lead teacher per classroom. And all of the information associated with that teacher is the information that's being collected. So even if you have 2 lead teachers in a classroom, you need to select one of them and provide the information for one of them. It is very important that you communicate that information to your sites as you're doing this correction process. So we need the name of the classroom teacher, the number of children assessed with gold. That comes directly from gold. And if you see an error with that information, you will need to submit documentation to prove that you actually were able to assess more children in gold than what is being reflected. The ratio is assigned at the 1, 2, and 3-star level, with the 1-star being the minimum licensing requirement. There's a link to a worksheet or to a document that provides information on the different levels for ratios, and if you need that information, you should consult that worksheet. The age configuration is new. We're asking you to tell us the age group of the children in the classroom, whether it's pre-K, toddler, or infant. We want the name of the curriculum that's being used, and that should be literally the name. So sometimes folks try to provide the publisher or an abbreviation of the name. It is much more helpful if you give us the actual name of the curriculum that's being used. We want the highest degrees the lead teacher has, the teacher, whether or not the teacher is certified, and if yes, what the certification number for the lead teacher is. If information is left blank in gold, we will reflect it in data certification as none or no, if not corrected in data certification. And if certification numbers that are provided cannot be verified, this will default to not certified. So please make sure that you are using the correct certification number. So I'm going to walk through some screenshots now so you can see what this looks like. This is what the page looks like when you pull up ladatareview.net, and you will be provided the login information by August 1st to be able to log into this system. Again, we are using the contact information that lead agencies have already provided. Once you log in, you'll see a dashboard screen that looks like this, with the total records in the roster, things that have not been submitted, things that are pending review, things that are under review, and things that are closed. You can click the red arrows to view additional details. Once you log in, you're going to be required to submit the assurance agreement. This is an old version of this, but the assurance agreement will be updated to reflect 2017-2018 school year, and you're required to ensure that you are saying that all of this information is correct as far as you know. At the top of your screen, you'll be able to click Community Network, see the assurance agreement, download the roster files, and click rosters to edit site and classroom level information. So you can get downloadable roster files, you can click rosters to get to and to edit the site and classroom level information. When you look at rosters, you'll be able to see both site level roster and classroom level roster. So you can see all of the information that's available to you to correct. If you want to export to Excel, you always can using the Export to Excel feature at the top. You can also click to view or double click on any site to edit the site level information. You can also search by site code or name, or by submission ID, or by status. So there's lots of different ways for you to filter through the information that's in the system. Once you are done with the process and you've fixed all of your corrections, you can click on the Submit button that's at the bottom that says Submit all eligible records for review. If you make corrections but you do not click the Submit button, then we will not receive your corrections. You must click the Submit button for us to receive your corrections. So let's say that you look on the community network in the site and you see that either the name or the code is incorrect. You can manually enter a correction below. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is totally set, we'll review this and we probably will have questions for you about that because we expect that our names and our site codes are correct, but there may be concerns, one-off concerns that need to be addressed using this process. Note that you can't change the name of the site or the site code to try to join sites together or anything like that. That request has to be made to us. It won't sort of add them together or combine sites or transfer a record from one site to the next doing that. You will not be required to enter information on IEPs or IFFPs at the site level. You just will have to say at the site level whether or not what age of children they are serving. You click Save once all the information has been reviewed. If you need to add a new site, you can do that as well. There's no requirement for site level documentation, but it's available to you to submit documentation. If you need to add comments or tell us that something is going on with a particular site or site code, you can use this feature to do that. But there's no requirement that you do. Let's say that you're working within a site and you see the classroom roster and you see a classroom is missing. You can always add a record, and that'll allow you to add a classroom teacher or add a classroom that's not currently reflected in the data certification system. You can again export to Excel if you would prefer to review it in Excel as opposed to the system. And you can scroll across the screen to view additional information. Again, like before, once all of your classroom records have been reviewed, you must click the Submit button at the top to tell us that records are ready for review. If you do not click the Submit button, we cannot see the changes that you have made. If a classroom should be deleted, you flag it for removal at the top. When you look at the children assessed, changes to assessment requires documentation unless you are changing it to 0. So if you are changing it to any other number, you will need to submit documentation. If the teacher-child ratio is unknown, that means that no information was submitted, and we need more information on that. If you want that one-pager that I described that provides information on the different levels, 1, 2, and 3 stars, click the More Info next to it, and that will provide you with that information. We are asking for age configuration so that we can know if it's a pre-K or infant toddler curriculum. When it's a mixed age classroom, give us the best guess or what it was sort of used, what it was evaluated on using class, so we can know if it's a pre-K or if it's an infant toddler classroom. For teachers, you should put in their name, you should put in their degree, you should select yes or no for teacher certification, and we are requiring teacher certification numbers to be collected. Please note that you can use www.teachlouisiana.net to look up unknown certification numbers. Again, we do not need the letters in front of the certificate number, we just need the 6-number certificate. So we've worked with the LPR vendor to make several changes to the system that we hope will streamline the experiences for all users. First of all, we are not requiring information about IEPs or IFFPs at the site level. Second of all, even though this was not a requirement before, we are now requiring that you submit the teacher certification number. Teacher certification number must be able to be validated. This is our check on the system. If you change the number of students assessed to 0, you will not need to submit documentation, which is a change from last year. And if you need to change the site code or site name, you'll be able to manually enter that information. It won't be automatic, but we will look at it, review the change, and let you know if we have any questions. And we're requiring this year that you give us the age configuration of the classroom. All fields will be required, and any fields without information will default to none, no, or unknown. So before you could leave information blank, this year you will not be able to leave information blank. If you don't know something, you'll have to click unknown. Some of the mistakes that we found last year in our first year was that people would try to edit a classroom record for the incorrect site. If you need to move a classroom record from one site to another site, you cannot just change the name of the site. You must delete the record from the original site and create a new record in the correct site. There is no way to transfer a classroom. Previously, we also had folks leaving informational metrics blank. In 2018, you will not be able to leave any of the fields blank. If nothing is entered for curriculum, the system will default to none. Finally, you cannot save changes to a record without officially submitting it. You must make sure that you submit all eligible records for review after you save the changes to a record. Basically, if you save the changes to a record and you don't submit it, it's like it never happened for us because we can't see things until it's final and it's been submitted to us. So now let's walk through the timeline. You've been provided your site roster files, and we've started getting questions from folks about how they can make the corrections. The week of August 1st, which is next week, you'll be getting access to the system. We ask that you start providing the site roster files to your individual sites and start communicating whatever methods you've set up within your lead agency to collect corrections. We will email sites that are missing informational metrics with a reminder to complete data certification on the first week of August. This is sites that are missing all their informational metrics. We'll do an individual reach out to them. We'll send another email to those same sites August 27th. And then no later than September 3rd, you must enter, oh, I think this is an old date. I think that all of these changes must be submitted by August 31st, but I'll confirm. We'll likely leave it open over that weekend, so you'll have until September 3rd, but we're really requesting that you submit all of that information by August 31st. And we will respond to all corrections with approve, deny, or questions. So I will now open this up for questions from y'all. And again, please note that this webinar is being recorded and you will have access to these slides. I'll give just another minute for any questions. All right, if folks don't have any questions, we can end a little bit early. I can give you a half an hour back in your day. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Taylor is currently out of office, so if you have specific data certification questions, I can respond to them until she gets back. But Taylor Dunn on our team will be leading most of the work around data certification and can answer all your questions for the month of August, as I'm sure they will start to come up. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Have a great day.